Many nonprofit organizations should begin to look at donor retention like a jab, jab, right hook. If you're not familiar, Gary Vaynerchuk, this crazy guy on the internet who tends to believe that social media is the future to all marketing, he has a book called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. And despite Gary V being a huge fanatic of social media, you don't have to necessarily work yourself to death to still use this method. The jab, jab, right hook method actually works no matter the industry, and to be honest, doesn't even matter the customer base. Here's why. Jab, jab, right hook essentially is taken from boxing. It's where a boxer will square up in the ring with their opponent and they begin to actually throw jab punches as a way to position or set up the frame so they can follow up eventually with the perfect right hook, and in some cases, a knockout punch. That's the attempt and that's the focus that you want to have when it comes to your donors. So nonprofits, listen up. Having the right sequences of jabs will allow you to basically land the right punch when you need it the most. Again, what's the use of throwing your best haymakers in the ring if none of them actually land? That's why you want to be able to jab to feel your way into the market the same way that a boxer would feel his or her way around the ring with their opponent. So what does this look like for a nonprofit organization? Your jabs will consist of short and punchy forms of communication. Now, social media should already be a given as far as something in your rotation that you're using to actually promote your business, promote your organization, and show others what you all can do. However, some of the other things that are underutilized in today's market consist of text messages, emails, and the biggest sleeping giant of them all, direct mail. Now, keep in mind that direct mail, although very, very powerful and very underutilized, is something that you should use for a more targeted audience. As you know, direct mail is probably the most expensive out of the three. And what that means is that postage, the price of postage is not going down. I mean, it's just not going down, okay? So expect in this economy for postage costs to deliver mail, it's going to continue to rise, all right? It is what it is. Now, if we're using postage or direct mail the right way, we should use it when we are targeting our real ideal clients, our ideal customers that we really, really want to reach, because there's no need in spending thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars for people that probably aren't going to give you the real return on your investment that you're looking for. You can actually use your regular jabs, such as your social media, such as your email marketing, for the individuals who are considered to be lower ticket or smaller donors. I'm not saying don't communicate with your smaller donors at all. I don't care if someone only donated $1. Still give them the ongoing drip of communication through emails, okay? But they may not be the ideal person that you want to spend money with, let's say with text messages or with direct mail, all right? For those individuals who are choosing to donate hundreds of dollars, it makes more sense that you're going to be in a better cadence to, in addition to sending them emails, to now begin to also send them text messages as well. And those who are giving on your higher tier, and so for some organizations it's different, but for some organizations that could be a tier at $10,000. For others that could be $100,000, and for others that could simply just be $1,000. Regardless, your higher tier, that's where we want to focus in the touch of direct mail. Now, social media should be something that is done at least 3 times a week, especially if you have an event coming up. I would suggest that you are promoting that event at least 21 days in advance, all right? That's at least three calendar weeks, all right? So social media should be like every day. However, at a minimum 3 times a day. The next cadence that you want to have is for text messages. Text messages, when you have an event coming up, should be more frequent. But if you're just doing this to stay in contact with your donor base, send a text message once, maybe twice a month. So 1 or 2 texts per month. But make sure that those text messages are telling a story and they give a call to action. All right. So 1 to 2 text messages every single month. Now, I understand you're probably having a little heart attack right now. Like, why would I spend so much money in reaching out? Well, if you're only reaching out to people when you want something, I think you guys know who I'm talking about there. If you're one of those organizations that only reaches out when you want something, after a while, people will begin to drop off because they feel as though they don't have an ongoing communication with you. Think about it this way. Like if you have children that are in college, for example, you love your child dearly, but you would like to see them on the holidays. You want to hear from them. You would like if they could maybe stop by on a random Saturday afternoon. You would like to know that that child can send you a message and or make a phone call to you in times that they just don't need money, added to, whatever, right, for college. You want to have that direct communication with them on an ongoing basis. And that's what you want too if you're talking to your donor base. Finally, when we're talking about sending emails, emails are inexpensive to where they can be sent to every tier, okay? Emails can be sent to every tier. And let's really recap this real quick, okay? Social media, that is ongoing basis. You want to be findable. You want people to be able to discover you. And when they Google or type in your organization's name, I don't care if it's on Google, Bing, Yahoo, or even ChatGPT, you want to make sure that your organization is able to stand out. It shows that you're active. Okay, that's a non-negotiable. Your emails to your lower tier donors, that should take place on at least a monthly basis. And I would prefer to have that as well as 2 times a month. All right. Most organizations that we help out with, they tend to have a newsletter that goes out every month. And then they have like some kind of highlight that goes out as an email once a month. Okay. That's our lower tier. Now, keep in mind the communication that takes place with lower tier as we continue to go to the mid and higher tier, that communication is consistent throughout. Okay. So our mid tier is still going to have the emails as well. And so will your higher tier. All right. On your mid tier, which are our next segment, the only thing you're going to add in that rotation is going to be those text messages. All right. I would suggest 2 text messages per month. But if you want to just do once per month, that is fine. But make sure you have a call to action with that message. All right. And then finally, on our higher tier, you're going to add one additional thing. And the thing you're going to add is going to be your mailers, direct mail. Now, here's the cool thing with direct mail. You don't have to send direct mail every single month. As a matter of fact, I would suggest that you send direct mail once every other month. Okay. So in other words, out of a 12-month cycle, we're talking about you sending 6 pieces of mail to your higher tier donors. 6. Okay. 6 pieces of mail. Now, if you want to ramp that up, that is fine. But I would suggest that you only send 6 pieces of mail. So recap really quickly. Start to use the jab right hook. All right. Your right hook for most of you is going to be you requesting for them to donate. Okay. But your jabbing should be you sharing stories, having story-based content, having call to actions throughout that sequence. Okay. Typically, you're only going to request or ask for donations, not every month, but once a quarter. Okay. Again, not every month, but once a quarter. One thing that does work pretty well, but after a while people become kind of blind to it, is whenever someone has at the bottom of their email, instead of like their sign off and things like that, you can actually just put a templated donate button there. and it's always going to be at the bottom of of every email that you're sending out, right? So that way you're not necessarily always asking, okay? So with that being said, I hope this helps you. I know it will help you. I hope you utilize it. And if you need help with actually putting these things into motion, feel free to reach out to me and my team, and we're happy to get you guys across the finish line. Thank you so much for sticking with me for this long, and I'll chat with you on the next one. Peace.